Tonight on Ctv3 News, the Belize Supreme Court allows BSCFA lawsuit against BSI, TTE, and Lyle over fair trade premiums to proceed. The BSCFA comments on the decision. The sugar industry faces urgency to finalize new negotiations ahead of expiring agreement amid the challenging season. Faculty and staff at University of Belize demand urgent action on delayed 9% pay raise. And Commissioner Dr. Richard Rosado implores society to back the 13th Amendment amid surge in gang violence. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Tuesday, July 8th, 2025.
Let's all be safe during the rainy season. Belize Electricity Limited reminds you that heavy rains can cause flooding in your neighborhood and on roads. Avoid driving or walking in flooded areas, which can have hidden dangers such as debris and fallen power lines. Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety. Please stay safe.
Good evening, with your newscast also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Jaden Gamis. As we told you on Monday, the Supreme Court of Belize has ruled that the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, the BSCFA, can proceed with its lawsuit against the Belize Sugar Industries, BSI, and the UK-based Tate and Lyle Sugars over fair trade premiums for the 2021-2023 crop years. The court rejected attempt to strike out the case, stating that Belize has proper jurisdiction and that the previous arbitration agreement had expired. The chairman of the BSCFA, Alfredo Ortega, speaking on the ruling today, called it a small but meaningful victory for the association, saying it validates the justice which they seek.
Reality is very important for us. Why it is important? Because as you know, for many times you have said that we, the BSCFA, don't have in law the authority or the power to market sugar. It is BSI, the one that sells our sugar locally and internationally. So having this, that the court have ruled in this way, is very important for us because that demonstrates that yes, our sugar is being sold to Tate and Lyle. And our sugar that we produce on the fair trade has been sold as any other association to them. So this is very important for us. It's a first step. It's true. It's nothing that we can boast out as we speak, but we see that at least the first step of justice is being done.
The association, according to Ortega, is now fully preparing for trial, where they will continue to fight for what rightfully belongs to the BSCFA.
So now the hope for you guys is to have the trial here and try to recover those fair trade funds?
Yes, of course, and that is what we are expecting, and we will be awaiting for the judge to see when he will be putting a date, when the trial will start. As I said, this is the first step, so we will be awaiting to see when the date will be come on board, and so that we can see and finalize this issue where we are at this point.
Now, while the first hurdle is now behind for the association, attorney for the BSCFA says they are prepared for the case, which is a very technical one.
But we have, before this claim was launched, we explained to BSCFE that they have to be prepared for the long haul. And we, for example, gave them the example of the Maya King workers. You remember that case that went all the way to the CCJ with the Maya King farms, the union busting case? And so if the court had ruled against us, we felt very strongly on the merits and we would have appealed that decision. So we have prepared our clients for the long haul because we expect every single technical application to be filed against this claim to delay.
A trial date for this case is yet to be ascertained by the High Court. The northern sugarcane industry is currently reeling from a less than successful crop season, which was marred by many challenges, including bad weather, pests, and the fusarium disease. With the industry now in the off-season, all eyes are now expected on the negotiations between the BSI and ASR and the BSCFA over a new commercial agreement. The current interim agreement is set to expire in November of this year, placing renewed urgency on both parties to return to the negotiation table ahead of the 2026 crop season. The current agreement, viewers may remember, was signed in early 2024 after weeks of tension, marked by a deadlock that brought the industry to a standstill. Farmers blocked roads and staged protests, delaying the start of the crop season. The situation only de-escalated after the personal intervention of Prime Minister John Briceño, who brokered a temporary deal to get cane farmers' deliveries moving. Coming off a severely challenging season, the BSCFA says they are hoping to restart the negotiations as soon as possible, so as not to place any unnecessary pressure on the upcoming season.
Well, we have already written BSI asking them that we want to start our negotiation in August. The only response we have get from them is that they received the letter, but from there we have not moved any further. As you know, crop just ended, so we are trying to see how we can work right now with the situation we are in and trying to prepare ourselves whenever we set a date together with them to start well, not to start, right, but as you know, to have a continuous negotiation with them and to see where we can reach with that, because what we are looking for is that we have an agreement that will assist both sides, the farmers and also the millers. Before the start of the crop, yes.
I think that's all.
In previous negotiations, the BSCFA focused on transparency and what they believe is a more equitable sharing of revenues from the sugar value chain. Meanwhile, BSI/ASR has maintained that any new deal must also consider the long-term viability and competitiveness of the industry. As gang-related violence continues to flare up, particularly in Belize City, Commissioner of Police Dr. Richard Rosado is calling on all sectors of society to rally behind the proposed 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which aims to strengthen law enforcement's ability to curb gang activity and restore peace in affected communities. The Commissioner's appeal comes at a time when authorities are grappling with a spike in shootings, retaliatory attacks, and heightened tensions among rival groups, which escalated in Belize City over the weekend, resulting in the execution of an elderly woman and her disabled son.
This is why I believe that I want to beg, I want to implore on the public to support the police department, to stand with the police department as a united front, as a resolute support of the amendment of the gang and gun laws that is being proposed in the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. I do believe that the 13th Amendment is a needed enhancement of the legislation that will assist us not only in protecting the community and in ensuring that the rule of law is upheld, but also in assisting us to dismantle the entrenched network of violence that exists. I do support that we have a number of citizens, including the at-risk communities, who have demonstrated positive response to rehabilitative and preventative programs. But we do have a minority, a hardened minority, who is hell-bent, who will do whatever it takes. And they have demonstrated that they will continue their criminality, and we cannot allow these dangerous few, to hold the country hostage.
The proposed 13th Amendment bill introduces sweeping changes to Belize's legal approach to tackling crime. One of its most controversial provisions would empower the Governor General, on the advice of the National Security Council, to declare any area of the country a special area. In such zones, key constitutional rights, including freedom of movement and protection against warrantless searches, could be temporarily suspended to address serious security threats. The bill also outlines the creation of a specialized gun and gang court, which would streamline the prosecution of gang-related offenses by combining the functions of both the magistrate and the high courts. Coming up next, another teen goes missing. Stay tuned.
Attention farmers, the New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animal's well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text or WhatsApp 670-7003 or call your nearest Ministry of Agriculture office. And don't forget, never transport or receive animals with injuries. Together, we will prevent the spread of this dangerous disease. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
Today we stand at the threshold of progress, having witnessed the physical transformation of this laboratory into a cutting-edge facility that will enhance healthcare services in Belize.
This is an initiative that marks another key achievement of the European Union-funded Health Sector Support Program Belize Project, one of the largest health sector initiatives in the country.
I would like to thank our implementing partners, the Pan-American Health Organization and the Ministry of Health and Wellness for the remarkable work that you are doing in the implementation of this project.
With a total investment of over $1.1 million, including the installation of solar panels in the coming months, the Central Medical Laboratory now stands as a model of smart health infrastructure. These improvements go far beyond aesthetics. They address years of structural deterioration, fire damage, and operational limitations. From mold remediation and advanced air systems to new safety features, upgraded electrical and water systems, flood risk mitigation, energy efficient fixtures, and even an expanded working space. This facility now reflects the standard of care and preparedness that Belizeans deserve.
Authorities and family members are appealing to the public for assistance in locating 14-year-old Sadie Mariela Zuniga, a resident of Frank's Eddies village who has been reported missing. Sadie was last seen on Saturday, July 7th, 2025. She is described as having a brown complexion, a medium build, and standing approximately 5 feet tall. At the time of her disappearance, she was dressed in a red blouse and short blue jean trousers. The community is urged to remain vigilant and report any information that may lead to Sadie's safe return. Anyone with information regarding Sadie Mariela Zuniga's whereabouts is encouraged to contact the nearest police station or call the Belizean Crime Stoppers hotline. Following one of the most challenging crop seasons in recent memory, the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, the BSCFA, is preparing to return to the fields, this time with renewed focus and strategic partnerships aimed at tackling the growing threat of pests and the crop disease, the fusarium. Now, in the off-season and preparing for the start of the 2026 crop, Chairman of the BSCFA, Alfredo Ortega, today confirmed that the association is actively working alongside the Sugar Industry Control Board, SICB, the Government of Belize, and also the Ministry of Agriculture to develop a coordinated response to the agricultural threats that plague last season's production. Farmers across the north battled a combination of extreme weather conditions, pest infestations, and fungal diseases, factors that contributed to poor cane yields and financial losses across the board.
It hasn't started as yet any work at the field level. What we are doing right now, we are working with CRD, and the Minister of Agriculture placed $500,000 for a program to be instituted. At least it doesn't cover a lot, but at least what the chairman of the board right now is doing is to see how best he can expand for a pilot project in that, where he's looking forward to assist 2,500 acres of sugarcane, on which it will be a portion from the $500,000 that the minister have put, and the other portion will come from the farmers themselves, so that on both sides, so that this can materialize within that pilot project that they want. So as we speak right now, there hasn't been any start at ground level, but we will shortly start, because today we had a meeting with the chairman of the board, where he presented the package to the farmers that were there. And when I say the farmers, it's not only BSCFA, it's all four associations, because as you know, this issue is affecting everyone in the sugar industry. So we have been working very diligently, and we continue our dialogue with the ministry, with the government, and we expect, well, that the Prime Minister really look upon, as he has mentioned before, that he will be working very diligently to see how best he can assist the sugar industry. So we are awaiting to that, and we are working in close partnership to see, because our farmers really are in high need right now for any assistance being given to them, not only to control the fusarium, but also to control the froghopper and the stem borer that we are looking now that we had the amount of rain of last week. So we are seeing with this weather that we are experiencing right now that there can be a possibility of an early eruption of the froghopper.
In a recent social media statement, Tracy Panton, the Albert area representative for the United Democratic Party, the UDP, and leader of the opposition, voiced serious concerns about the internal direction of her party. She accused factions within the UDP of attempting to orchestrate a takeover, asserting that what appears to be a move toward unity is in reality a strategic effort to hijack the party and restore influence to those she believes are responsible for its fragile state. Panton emphasized that genuine party cohesion requires the inclusion of all legitimate division representatives and their leadership. She called for the organization of constituency caretaker conventions across all areas not currently represented in the National Assembly, stressing that decisions made unilaterally by individual leaders, particularly those involving family members, have no place in a healthy democracy. She underscored the importance of respecting the democratic will of the people and maintaining transparency within the party. Beyond internal party matters, Panton was outspoken about the current government's handling of national issues. She criticized the People's United Party (PUP) administration for what she perceives as excessive overreach and warned that Belize's democratic institutions and economic stability are under threat. Panton expressed concern that the government is getting away with far too much and that the country's already delicate democracy is suffering as a result. She pointed to potential infringements on citizens' rights by the executive branch and raised worries about an impending increase in the goods and services tax, GST, amid rising living costs. Panton also highlighted the country's economic vulnerabilities, including setbacks in the productive sector, threats to food security, and the adverse effects of a looming global recession and regional conflicts, particularly in the Middle East. On Belize's vital tourism industry, she noted that tourism operators are already experiencing significant declines in occupancy rates. Concluding her remarks, Panton asserted that the UDP must first hold itself to high standards of integrity, credibility, and inclusiveness before it can effectively scrutinize and hold the government accountable. She called for internal reform and renewed commitment to foundational democratic principles as essential steps toward national stability. As the 2024-2025 cane crop season was forcibly closed due to the inclement weather conditions in our country back in late June, BSI/ASR today issued the fourth estimated average cane price for the 2025 crop season, which stands at $58.10 per ton of cane, an increase of over $3 from the third estimate, which was issued earlier in the season and stood at $54.31 per ton of cane. This increase, according to BSI/ASR, is mainly due to improvements in the estimated price for the EU raw sugar, US raw sugar, and export DC sugar. According to BSI, the current estimate reflects production figures following the completion of the milling season. However, the mill is still remelting raw sugar to fulfill local demand for plantation-wide sugar, meaning that the final figures may be adjusted once this process is completed. The final payment, according to BSI/ASR, will also be dependent on the significant challenges throughout the season, including adverse weather, disease, and pest infestations. Additionally, frequent mill downtimes due to short deliveries and limited cane availability affected overall performance. The BSI has since called on all stakeholders to work collaboratively to develop long-term solutions to these ongoing issues. In terms of the final payment, BSI/ASR also highlights that it's dependent on a number of factors, including that of a total of 869,537 tons of cane is projected to produce 78,005 tons of sugar and 33,133 tons of molasses, with 15,655 tons of sugar and 9,842 tons of molasses allocated for local consumption. Another cane price estimate is expected before the second payment to farmers, which is scheduled for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Reacting to the announcement today, Chairman of the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, the BSCFA, Alfredo Ortega, welcomed the price increase but stressed that farmers are still reeling from one of the most difficult crop seasons in history.
In reality, I think that this information that just came in yesterday is really a plus for us, for the organization, because there are many farmers that were asking almost on a daily basis what is happening, what has transpired, and we are unable to answer. But with this information that came out yesterday, well, this demonstrates that there is something that have already took a step forward. And as you said, it has been very difficult. This crop has been very difficult for the farmers. As you see, low yields, problems with pests, problems with the fusarium now, that we are seeing the huge effect now of fusarium. And if nothing is done, we can see that we will be end up losing a lot of our cane field for next crop. So we, as the leadership, we have been working very diligently, speaking to the minister, speaking to SERDI, and to see how best we can accommodate so that farmers can get the necessary assistance to fight this pest that we are experiencing now. We just received information of a fourth cane payment estimate, on which it shows an increment from 54.31 to 58.10 at this point as we speak right now. So many farmers were querying on what is our price currently. Well, we were speaking about the 54.31, but now that we have received this 58.10, well, now we can speak now in that line that the information that has been brought out is now 58.10. So we expect and we look forward for an increase whenever the second payment come on board.
There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It is truly a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the house by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go exercise, have fun.
Electricity is evolving, and BEL is leading the way with smarter connections across Belize. Meet AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure. It's not just a meter, it's a smarter way to manage power. Smart meters record your energy use in real time and securely send the data to BEL. Key customer benefits include real-time insights into energy usage, improved home energy planning, integration of solar, battery, and EV technologies, and innovative customer service solutions. Get ready! AMI is coming soon to municipalities across Belize, including the Keys, to give you more control and reliability. BEL, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Caribe in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration. and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit.
Electricity is evolving, and BEL is leading the way with smarter connections across Belize. Meet AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure. It's not just a meter, it's a smarter way to manage power. Smart meters record your energy use in real time and securely send the data to BEL. Key customer benefits include real-time insights into energy usage, improved home energy planning, integration of solar, battery, and EV technologies, and innovative customer service solutions. Get ready! AMI is coming soon to municipalities across Belize, including the Keys, to give you more control and reliability. BEL, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Frustration is mounting among faculty and staff at the University of Belize, UB, as the University of Belize Faculty and Staff Union, UBFSU, publicly demands swift action on a long-promised pay raise. The union has issued a strong statement criticizing both government authorities and university leadership for what it describes as a delayed justice regarding a 9% salary increase that has yet to be implemented. The proposed salary boost was originally slated to take effect on April 1st, 2025. However, a bulletin from UB's Human Resources Department dated April 10th acknowledged that financial planning hurdles was postponed the rollout. The bulletin assured employees that the increase would be applied retroactively and fully processed by the end of the current fiscal year, August 1st, 2025. Despite these assurances, the UBFSU remains skeptical and is calling on government to honor its commitment to UB and its faculty, staff, and students.
We were never told that this increment was contingent to any subvention or to any monies that the university needed. However, we were later told that it was based on a promise that was made to the university by the government of Belize to assist with the salary increase, something that they did not receive in writing and something that is not being held up at this point. So with this, the Board of Trustees at their meeting last week opted not to approve the 9% salary, to not institute the 9% salary increase because it had already been approved, as to my understanding. But until they get commitment from the government to increase the subvention. And they called on the union to go get that subvention. Now, the union had already been calling out the government on this subvention. We had put out press release, I had been in their press conference, and we had already been calling the government. And it is for more than just our salary increase. It is for us to be able to improve the conditions at the university. and better the education system. And we still aim to do that. However, we don't find it fair for the Board of Trustees to put the onus on the union to seek the money for our own salary increase. That is the responsibility of the Board of Trustees and the administration of the university.
Speaking to reporters, the union's president, Giuliani Passos, revealed that union representatives are scheduled to meet with both the Minister of Education and the Minister of Finance to discuss the status of this subvention, which is vital for funding the salary increase. If there is no genuine commitment, we always have prepared a plan B, Passos asserted.
I have met with my union members. We met already. And I will be honest, they're demoralized. They feel that we have put up with a lot of things at the university, and they're ready to, to mobilize. Like I said, they're ready to do whatever it takes, honestly. But we do recognize that there is a process by which we have to go through, and we will exhaust those processes before. So we would take it in phases and initiate the process of public awareness, then looking at how negotiations, and then move on to that. So there is a process by which we will follow through.
In conclusion, the UBFSU reiterated its appeal for the government to recognize the vital importance of the University of Belize and to fulfill its pledges to ensure the institution's growth, stability, and continued contribution to national development. The government of Belize, in collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, launched a 2-day workshop titled From PPP Policy to PPP Program, identifying, prioritizing, and executing public-private partnerships in Belize. The event brings together key public officials, technical experts, and international consultants to strengthen the country's capacity to develop and implement sustainable infrastructure through public-private partnerships, PPPs. Opening remarks were delivered by Rocio Medina Bolivar, IDB Country Representative Sandra Cuello, Director of the PPP Unit in the Office of the Prime Minister, and Joseph Waite, Financial Secretary and at the Ministry of Finance. The workshop is part of the IDB's ongoing technical cooperation to support Belize's PPP framework and project pipeline. The workshop agenda includes modules on PPP fundamentals, project identifications and screening, fiscal sustainability, business case development, procurement, implementation, and climate resilience. Participants will engage in hands-on activities, including project prioritizations, exercises, and a case study on road rehabilitation. The event is facilitated by the IDB's PPP unit in partnership with Rebel, a consulting firm with extensive experience in PPPs across the region. It aims to equip Belizean institutions with the tools and knowledge to structure viable, inclusive, and resilient PPP projects aligned with international best practices and local policy. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Wednesday, July 9th, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening, and have a good night.